What's good, y'all? It is Will here. Today I want to talk about battling lust. Now, I think we all can relate to feelings of lust, to feelings of uncontrollable sort of desires, and it's taboo because it's the deepest aspect that's ingrained in our nature that is difficult to control. You know, it's almost impossible to control the fact that we have these feelings, but we can't control what we do with them. And sometimes it's difficult to, avoid, to not cede to the temptation that is lust in some regard, right? Like whether it's through masturbation, through seeking a hookup with someone, and that's the only intention with them. And I've been there in both of those scenarios. Personally, I think lust nowadays is becoming, or at least sex is becoming, a lot different and a lot more easily accessible because of porn particularly. And it's not even just Pornhub, it's like even just what's promoted on social media and all over the internet. You notice that sex sells. And personally, when it comes to porn, I have had an addiction. I can't say that I'm completely over it. I have gone over 2 months now from abstaining from any type of sexual activity. And it's like, if you've heard of that, it's called NoFap, the practice of NoFap. I've made videos on that on the channel, or I've had one video on it, I should say. But essentially, there's like a big movement to it, and I'm not like a NoFap connoisseur or anything, but I do believe that if you go into it with intentions, and if you are in a similar place like I was, where you're kind of addicted to porn, you're constantly watching it and constantly craving it, then having that intention to get over that going into a streak will benefit you. Like that's not even like my opinion. That I think that's pretty factual. If you really can abstain from that to sort of rewire your brain, because that's the thing, porn is fake, but it tricks your mind into thinking it's real. So like I've been at points where I would literally rather watch porn than have sex with the hottest woman I can possibly envision. And I'm not kidding, I'm not joking, I'm not saying that's in any ways something I'm proud of. Obviously it's not, but it's where I was at certain points. It's where I've been. And that's why it's dangerous now that it's like so easily accessible on the internet for anybody to just, please themselves to. And even in real life, when we're not talking about porn, like sometimes you see someone and, you find them attractive, and maybe you have an ambition to get to know them a little bit, but truth be told, I think there have been a lot of times where I'm guilty of it, where it's just like, there's just this lustful temptation of, I just want, for some reason, like this quick bout of sex, right? It's like this quick pleasure. And that feeling is so hard to just simply ignore, I've been entangled with lust before, but at the end of the day, it does seem kind of like the devil, right? Like love is the opposite of that, but lust could be like the devil. But at the same time, it is a part of our nature. That goes to show that there is that level of darkness within us, and we can't just simply ignore it. We can't simply just hide and shun those feelings of lust, because lust doesn't necessarily simply go for sex. Lust can go for a craving of anything, of any kind. Some people have had crazy lustful desires, and it's hard to like think of anything in particular off the top of my head, but like, for example, bullies in school growing up, the ones that bully the inferior students to them, that is sort of a lustful temptation. I've never been in that position, thankfully. I was never like a bully, and I was never really bullied as a kid, but it's obvious that the ones that do it, they just have this sort of craving, this lust for power, for desire. That's I think a big thing, is power, wanting to have control. And that's why I say, like, lust can go for a lot of different things, but at the same time it's there, and I think it's important to use it. What I've been doing on this streak of sexual abstinence, instead of watching porn, is saving that energy and putting it into something useful, into a creative passion. I'm currently writing my 3rd book, and I've started an exercise routine, working out 5 days a week. And like throughout these times, I've really just been trying to really, hone in on an activity, hone in on a hobby, hone in on something I can do to distract myself from that, and to use that energy to my advantage rather than to my, disadvantage. And it's difficult, right? I'm not saying the streak is going to last forever. That's not my intention with it. But I do want to use it to really redefine what my outlook on sex is. Lust is very dangerous. It's not easy to always discuss. That was a voice crack. It's not easy to always discuss, but it should be explored. It should be acknowledged, And I think it's important to have conversations, even if it's just with yourself, about what you feel, about how you feel, to understand that more. That's how you build a relationship with who you are. And that's the most important relationship, because it's the longest relationship you'll ever have, is the one you share with yourself. People don't realize that all the time. Like, we're in these bodies, but we're still a whole entire human being that deserves love, affection, and care. And I go back to an example I read in Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life, about how, like, when you're a parent and you birth a child into the world, you are almost entirely responsible for them, because they're a baby. They can't, feed themselves. They can't change their own diaper. They can't get up and do whatever needs to be done. They're just infants that need you to survive. So you're there protecting them, nourishing, you're comforting, caring, you're providing for them. And as they grow older, you're still doing that, but it's a little bit less and less and less as they learn how to walk, as they learn how to feed themselves. But you're still taking care of them. You still love them. And then as time goes on, they become their own person and whatnot. But it's that realization of, well, that love and care you give to them, wouldn't you say you deserve the same thing, to yourself, to give to yourself? And that's why I think it really is important. It's essential to take care of yourself. And I'm not saying that to say you have to go on this crazy training regimen or strict diet that you must abide by, or make a huge drastic change to your life. But I do think setting goals, and even just miniature hobbies and habits, routines that can aid you, really goes a long way. Do what makes you happy. Journal, write, make a song, go for a walk, do what makes you feel like you. But I think at the same time, there has to be a way to acknowledge your energy, acknowledge your, I don't want to call it vibration, but how you feel, your state of mind, and all that stuff. Today I kind of just got outside here, just chilling by a tree right here, and I'm kind of wanting to talk, make a YouTube video. And it's great. It feels great to be able to do this, to be able to talk like this. It's a hobby that I've built to make YouTube videos and explore, to free my mind, but also talk to anybody who's willing to listen. And I have gone on a little bit of a tangent, a different direction than the original topic of lust. But at the same time, I do believe that, lust is something we have to accept as a part of our being. Because if we don't, it can really make things worse. It can really cause destruction, because we're refusing to accept our nature, which is this willingness, this desire to reproduce. And like, I 100% understand feelings. If it's like sexuality wise that you may be concerned about, I understand that. Like, the world still isn't entirely accepting and understanding of sexuality, and people who are gay or bi or have I guess outside of the norm type of fetishes or whatever. But at the end of the day, I believe that homosexual people or bisexual people are just as natural as straight people, because it's just this desire to love, to be loved. And I don't think there's any reason to be ashamed of that. Obviously, it's not like you're not going to make babies that way, but it's love. And you should never feel ashamed about your own sexual desires, your own sexual preference. I'm just informing that to you and telling you that you're good. Just because you experience lust, it just makes you human. And the world needs you to be human, not perfect. So much love to anybody watching. If you made it to this point, thank you. I really appreciate you. And much love. Good vibes. Will here, signing out.